Alrighty, so today we're going to talk about South Sudan climate change, how they're dealing with it, how it's seen today, and in this video I'm kind of going to talk about South Sudan, like I said, but we're going to also talk about the surrounding regions, because South Sudan is the world's youngest country. It was only established in 2011, so there's not a whole lot of information about South Sudan in particular, but you can find information about its surrounding countries and its general region of West Africa. And so we'll be kind of relating a lot of this information back to that. Basically, like I said, South Sudan is the world's youngest country. It split after a civil war with Sudan. It has lots of desert areas. It's split into very diverse climate regions. Part of the country borders a mountain range and can be pretty tropical. And the other half, or not half, but parts of it also have lots of desert, so it's very diverse. Because of that diversity, but also because of global warming and just in general, you can see lots of climate impacts. Some of these climate impacts that are really obvious for the people there are shorter farming seasons and lower crop yields. And that's because a lot of the people in the area depend on agriculture and farming for their main, support of their families and households there. South Sudan, as I said, it was very young, and coming out of civil war, many of the people there are living in poverty, and the country as a whole is not very well developed. And because of that, many of the people provide for themselves through agriculture and livestock. And this climate change can be seen on its biggest stage in the fact that these people are struggling to support for themselves and their families. This map up in the top left is a map of temperature increase, where darker areas are higher degree temperatures, and that's just seen in the last 10 years, and some of that's also predicted for the next 10 years. But either way, the dark red is a 1.5 degree temperature increase. So it's pretty drastic and can be seen very clearly today. I know this is a short slide here, but for South Sudan in particular, like I said, since it's so new and so many people are in poverty, they haven't really come out with a whole lot of things that they're doing in particular to fix the climate change issue. Instead, they're focusing on how to help support for their people, and they're doing this mostly through farming techniques that they're learning from other countries in the area, and also through support from the United Nations. Other countries in the area have signed agreements and such to cut back on fossil fuel use, but as South Sudan doesn't really have any of that in its economy and struggling government, it doesn't really need, to commit to any of those big changes. Instead, the impact's going to be felt there, and it's going to be not exactly their place to commit to changing things that they can't change. So therefore, they're going to focus more on their farming economy and agriculture and people in their business. This bottom right map shows the changes in precipitation, which, like we said about the temperature, is extremely drastically felt in South Sudan just because of their dependence on agriculture and obviously rainfall to grow that agriculture. There's not a whole lot that they can do to commit to changing these climate rules and climate global warming effects. They're really just going to be on the receiving end, which is sort of sad for South Sudan, and they hope to use these different farming techniques and support from the United Nations to change that as best they can.